Hey guys, it's Reagan, and today I'm going to be talking about my summer in movies because I was supposed to do like a month of movies like every month, but then I ended up taking, I took 5 AP tests, and then so I was studying the whole month of May basically. Then I graduated, went to Europe, and June was kind of crazy too, and then I've had some car trouble, so I've had trouble going to the movies, so like whatever. So anyway, I did end up seeing 12 movies all together this summer, so I'm just going to do a quick wrap up, basically give my rating, tell my issues and what I liked about every movie. So let's get started. The first movie I saw in May was Breaking In, and this movie stars Gabrielle Union. So what basically the movie is, the premise is, because like this is not a major movie, it's a mom and basically she goes to her dad's house. There's like money in the safe because her dad was doing some shady business. These people break into the house not knowing that the mom and her kids are there, so she like gets isolated from her kids, and she's trying to break back in the house because her kids are held hostage. And there's like 4 men, and like one of them's like a straight up psychopath, like straight out of prison, like murderer, all this stuff. And the other ones are just kind of criminals, and like Charlie Swan is like literally like the lead man, and it's kind of hilarious because I'm like, that takes me back to Twilight when I was like 13 and obsessed with it, but you know. And so it was kind of fascinating just to watch it. I did kind of like it, but I ultimately gave it a 4 out of 10 because while like I thought it was kind of enjoyable, I just thought a lot of it was unrealistic. Because honestly, I feel like these people were just like killed the kids. This sounds really terrible, but I honestly feel like if it was a real life, I think the kids would have been dead like a lot sooner, and so would the mom and like all this stuff. So I just feel like it was a little bit unrealistic because I watch a lot of like ID channel, like I don't know why, but I do. And I think it was cool, like it was a good premise, I guess, of a movie, but it was enjoyable, but also just a movie that you can definitely watch like while you're cleaning or doing something else. It's like a movie you have on the background. So that's why I gave it a 4 out of 10. The next movie I saw this summer was Solo: A Star Wars Story, and I did do a review about that, so you can, it'll be up here on the cards, and then also I'll have it linked down below. So Solo: A Star Wars Story was pretty interesting. I had very low expectations for it going in, and maybe that's why I thought it was like pretty good, I guess, because honestly I did not need Solo. Like I just thought that really I did not want a Han Solo movie. I feel like that character had a good arc based on like just the original trilogy and what he was in The Force Awakens. I felt like he was good, you know. And so going into it, I was like, okay, whatever. Ron Howard, I think, did a really good job, and you kind of can tell that I think he's like the saving grace of that movie. Alden Ehrenreich did a better job than I expected him to do, and ultimately it was good. I mean, I love Emilia Clarke, so that was good to see her on the screen in like a Star Wars movie because I love Game of Thrones. The next movie I saw was Ocean's 8, and I saw this movie because I thought that the cast was amazing, and I ironically gave it an 8 out of 10. So basically I went into this movie, I was like, it was really entertaining because it was obviously a heist film, and I just loved it because I love Sandra Bullock, I love Mindy Kaling, love The Mindy Project, one of my favorite shows of all time. And of course, I love Anne Hathaway. I love Anne Hathaway because when I was younger, I used to watch like Ella Enchanted like all the time. I love The Princess Stars and all that stuff, so I kind of grew up like loving Anne Hathaway. So it was just great. I really liked the movie. I think it was just very entertaining. Some parts were unrealistic. I like how I'm like saying every movie is like unrealistic. I swear I'm not too critical, but you know what I mean. But so it wasn't as smart as it could have been, and that's probably why like I didn't rate it higher, because I really like movies that are really smart or well written, and like you want to watch again to see all these different clues. In this movie, I could probably watch again and like notice a couple more things and be like, oh, okay, but it wasn't the same as some other movies that I've seen that have really good scripts that I love. So that's basically it. So that's why I gave it a 8 out of 10. The next movie I saw was Tag. So Tag is about this group of friends, and it's based on a true story that's playing the same game of Tag for the whole month of, what is it, May or something, for 30 years. So it's a cool premise. And I give it a 5 out of 10 because honestly, like, the movie was pretty good, I guess. But, like, it is such a movie that, like, you would rent. You know what I mean? Like, it's, like, such a Redbox movie. Like, when I was, like, watching it and thinking back to it, it's such a Redbox movie. I mean, it was entertaining. There were some funny parts of it. And I did like the cast in it. And, like, Isla Fisher was funny. But I still think that, like, it's just a very rentable movie. And I don't know, when I was watching it, like Jeremy Renner, he like, his character was like very similar to Hawkeye, so I thought that was interesting because I was like, this is just like a Hawkeye alternate universe, honestly, because it was just weird. But so that was kind of funny to me, like watching it. That's what was kind of my takeaway. But I did give it a 5 out of 10 because it was entertaining, but I still think it was just kind of mediocre. So the next movie I saw was Incredibles 2, and I actually did see this movie twice because I really loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I love Pixar, but like still like Disney animation, like pure Disney, still like I love it a little bit more, like, you know. And I'm kind of critical on animation, which is kind of weird, but that's because I've like lived for classic animation. Like Beauty and the Beast is like my favorite movie, so still true. But anyway, so I went into this movie with high expectations because Incredibles was my favorite Pixar movie. I love Incredibles. I thought it was fantastic, and I grew up with it. Like I was 4, so when it came out, so I've been like watching it like for 14 years, and then so I see this movie and it's just, it was great. I really just loved it. It was very entertaining. I think that Jack like stole the show. It was so funny. Honestly, I did a Tumblr post about this, but so you follow me on Tumblr for like weird, I'm like the most nerdy on Tumblr. Like if you follow my other social medias, you're like, oh, okay, like I'm normal. Like I really am like pretty normal, but like it's ironic that I'm most nerdy on here and then Tumblr. But so if you want to follow my Tumblr to see all like the Raylo Marvel content, it will be on that. But so I like literally put up a post and I was like, when I was watching The Incredibles, I really thought this was a Guardians of the Galaxy's Incredibles crossover, because when he was Jack was fighting that raccoon, I was like, oh my god, this is such like a Rocket moment. So I thought that was really funny, and I really just loved Jack throughout the whole Incredibles 2, and he really just stole the show. And I love Elastigirl, of course, and Violet's always one of my favorite too, but I love her whole like relationship. It was so cute. So I really enjoyed it, so that's why I gave it a 9 out of 10. The next movie I saw this summer was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I also saw this movie twice. I loved it. I gave it an 8 out of 10 because it's not my favorite Marvel movie ever, but I love Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man, and when Ant-Man came out, I loved it. Like, I still use the joke, Baskin Robbins always finds out, like, all the time. Every time I see a Baskin Robbins, I'm like, always finds out. Like, my whole family uses it to this day, and that movie came out, like, how many years ago? Like, 3 years ago now, I guess. But it's just so entertaining, and I love Paul Rudd, love Evangeline Lilly, and they're great. So I really love Hope and Scott's relationship, like, throughout it. Like, that's kind of cute. I like the turmoil, like, you have from her getting left out of Captain America Civil War, like, the airport battle, and all this stuff, and then they're just, like, rebuilding their relationship. But I love, my favorite part of the movie is Scott and Cassie's relationship. I think that's great, and I love to see like the parallels between like Hope and Hank. It's just very cute. I loved how that movie centered on family. I know some people were like the villains are weak or something like that, but I don't really think that was like the main point of it. I just think it was just really good, and it was nice to see a movie like after Infinity War that wasn't like totally like decimating. Like it didn't make me cry, so it was great. So I really enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's why I gave it an 8 out of 10. The next movie I saw was The First Purge, and I gave this movie a 3 out of 10. Now, let me tell you why. So the thing is that I went into this movie and I was like, oh my god, it's a horror movie, I'm gonna be so scared, because, okay, I'll admit, when I was younger, I would watch, like, some horror movies or whatever, like Fright Night, some, like, stuff like that, and, like, Fright Night, the original one, is, like, so scary, because the graphics are, like, terrible, like, the CGI is the worst, so it, like, makes it scarier. But anyway, so I would watch, like, some stuff, but I would, like, literally get nightmares from it, so I, like, stayed away from horror, like, most of my life. So then I was like, this is a horror, whatever, or thriller, whatever you want to call it. And so I watch it, and I'm like, oh my god, this wasn't scary at all. Like, maybe it's because, like, I, like, was thinking about, like, so many different ways that these guys are gonna, like, end up coming out, like, killing people, blah, blah, blah. And, like, there was a point even in the movie where they're like, oh my god, here's a speck of blood, and we knew the bad guy got injured, like, the crazy guy, I think it was Skeletor, like, crazy, I don't know, I just know he's crazy guys, whatever. We knew he got injured, and I was like, oh my god, he's hiding in the closet, he's about to come out and kill them all. No, that did not happen. It was just, like, some craziness, government, blah, blah. I mean, I was like, look, there's just so many elements, and that's that whole movie, but, like, could have... There's so many good opportunities for scarier crap to happen, but it was just really tame. So I was like, okay. And so I was just like, whatever. So that's why I gave it a 3 out of 10. It was fun to see it with my friends. It's definitely a movie that you need to like talk through to absolutely make fun of it, because there's a lot of just elements in there. The next movie I saw was Hotel Transylvania 3. And you're thinking about it, you're like, Reagan, you love kid stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I do love kid stuff, and I do admit, like, I love kid stuff. Typically, like, with kid stuff, I love, like, the Disney kid stuff. I mean, it's just my preference. So I was going to this movie, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be okay, whatever. And I was in this movie with my 6-year-old, just turned 6-year-old brother, and my 11-year-old brother. And I was watching this movie, and I was so bored. Like, I got through this movie, like, I was like, oh my god, this is so terrible. So I literally give this movie a 2 out of 10. Like, I don't mean to be hateful, but oh my god, I just want to leave so bad. I was like, I just want to go, get on my phone, just do whatever. Like, I was so bored, like, throughout the whole movie. Like, it wasn't as bad as Angry Birds. Like, Angry Birds literally put me to sleep. So it wasn't as bad, but there's just so many tropes, and it was just boring. I think there's funny parts, but the plot was just, ugh, it was just flat to me. So, I didn't like it. That's why I gave it a 2 out of 10. And I really just wanted to walk out. The next movie I saw, which I had a totally different feeling, it was Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. And I give this movie a 10 out of 10. And you might be like, Reagan, like, this movie is not going to win an Oscar. Like, it's not going to have critical acclaim. But here's the deal, right? This movie was supposed to be a bop this summer. I was supposed to be dancing around and wanting to dance around to the music and sing along to the music in my seat in the theater. And this movie accomplished this. So that's why I give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, that soundtrack, so good. I listen to it all the time, still to this day. It's so good. I mean, Andante Andante is like my favorite song on the album. Love it. Okay. First of all, it's sang by Lily James, who's my favorite. So I've been loving Lily James since Downton Abbey. She's literally like one of my favorite characters in Downton. Of course, I love Mary because, okay, like, I love Mary on Downton, but like Rose is like my second favorite character. Okay, anyway. But I love Lily James. Anyway, so I loved all of Mamma Mia. It was great. I think that the second movie was almost better than the first. Granted, the first movie came out when I was like 8 and I'm 18 now. So like, it's probably like when I saw it, like, I'm just more hyped. But all the men are super attractive. It's great. I mean, like, that's a dream, man. Like, literally, like, just finding like 3 hot available men. Well, one of them wasn't available. That was the only thing, but and just being on an island, that'd be great. I mean, sign me up for that vacation. So that's why I give that movie a 10 out of 10 because it's fantastic. For the soundtrack alone, I would give it an 8 out of 10. But the movie was great on top of it. I mean, it had Cher in it. Cher. And I'd be so ready for when Cher releases that album full of ABBA covers. Telling you. The next movie I saw was The Spy Who Dumped Me. And I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. Because here's the deal. I went into this movie and I was like, this is cool, you know. I think I'm gonna like it. And I did. Mila Kunis was great, and Kate McKinnon was great in this movie. They're fantastic. They're funny. I saw this movie, and it was kind of like predictable, so maybe that's why I kind of give it a 7 out of 10 and not higher, because it could have been a little bit smarter. And I just loved it. I think it was funny, entertaining. I hope there's a sequel. The Spy Who Married Me. I don't know. Like, honestly, it was just great. It was delightful. Just a fun time. And just entertaining. I mean, I don't know. I went into the theater and I got exactly what I thought I was going to get, so it was good. So that's why I give it a 7 out of 10. The next movie I saw was Christopher Robin, and I gave this movie a 6 out of 10. I loved Christopher Robin because it had a good message. Now, I rated it a 6 out of 10 because there was some points that were kind of slow, and I mean, it was good, and I liked the message that it had, like, maintain your inner child, don't get caught up with the stress, and don't be a workaholic. Try to be there for your children, like, it can't be all just work and no play. And I did like the story, and I did like how Pooh kind of had helped Christopher Robin like get his life together, and so he could be like a better father and a better husband. So I really liked that whole story, like, and in the message. So I did really like this movie, but I would give it a 6 out of 10 just because it was kind of slower, and it was just kind of more of a British style movie, if that makes sense. Like, it reminded me of British television, and I do love British television. Like, I love it. Like, one of my favorite series on TV right now is Victoria. I think that actually is my favorite series, and it's a British television show, so I have to wait till it comes on PBS. But it is just so good, and I love it. So, it was pretty good, but still just... The last movie I saw this summer was BlacKkKlansman, and I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people think I saw this movie because I have a crush on Adam Driver, like a lot of other people that love Raylo. The truth is I don't. Adam Driver's like 16 years older than me, and he's closer in age to my mom than me. So, like, that's kind of weird. So, that's the truth, like, me personally. So, I saw this movie because I've seen the trailer like so many times, kind of because I've been on Tumblr and I follow a lot of review blogs, okay? And BlacKkKlansman, like, they like Adam Driver in that way that I don't. And I do respect him as an actor, and I think I really appreciate that he's Kylo Ren, because I think he made that character have more depth, and that's why Kylo Ren is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, in the sequel trilogy. But that's not the reason I really saw this movie. I just knew that this movie was going to be important. I just love the way this movie was, like, filmed and directed. I think Spike Lee did a fantastic job, because there's so many moments, like, for instance, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just going to kind of highlight some things. Like, when this guy was giving a speech, and then you went into the crowd, and instead of showing, like, people just in the crowd and their faces, what it showed was, like, their faces, but it was, like, all black backgrounds, and it was just their faces, and it was just, like, so interesting. And then you got those people and saw their reactions. And I really love that, and I think he did that a lot in this movie. Like, he would focus on, like, certain faces, like, he would cut the cuts of this movie, like, how he would change, like, camera angles. I really enjoyed it. And then also, like, in some, like, important symbolisms, like when the phone went down or something like that, he would, like, repeat the shot, so it would be twice, so you'd see, like, the phone go down 2 times. And I just thought that was genius, because it just showed, like, how symbolic everything was. And when I was watching this movie, I just thought it was just so well written, because there was jokes about, like, OJ, which I thought was funny, and then just in this movie, it just showed how utterly ridiculous racists are. Like, all the stuff they were saying, like, it was set, like, back in the day, yes, but also just, like, all the stuff they were saying, like, just, like, misogynistic, homophobic, like, all the stuff they were saying, like, just sounded so ridiculous that it was like, how could these people even say that? But it's just terrible to think that these people actually exist. And I think this movie is just important because it just shows that there still are people like that. I don't know. It's just so terrible to think that people still think that, and people are that, like, dumb and ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't. That's, like, something I can't tolerate, like, overall, like, racism and homophobia. But I know I'm just, like, a basic white girl, but I'm just saying, like, it was just, I think it's a very important movie, and I think a lot of people should see it, because it really puts, like, everything in perspective, and I just love how this movie is written, and I just think that overall it just has a very good message, and it's just very, very good. And I just, from beginning to end, it is just such a good movie, and I just thought it was so good. It was such a good movie. I loved it. So I think that's why I give this movie a 10 out of 10, and I really do hope that it wins Academy Awards, because I feel like this movie needs to win, like, everything. Well, I just feel like this movie is just so important, and it comes in a good time. So yeah, it's just less hate, more love, you know what I'm saying? So that's the truth. So anyway, I hope I don't sound like an idiot. I know it's sensitive, like, every time I talk about stuff like that, I'm like a basic white girl, and then it's like, I don't ever want to be offensive or anything, but anyway, so that's the truth. So if I offended you, I apologize, and anything I said, like, I'm sorry, but okay. So thanks, guys, for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it, and also please subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, so thanks, guys, for watching this video. I'll see you later. Goodbye.